Morning guys, I'm here at a cold and damp Carsington reservoir, ready to do the Carsington Half Marathon today. It's about 1 Celsius, bit of rain in the air, definitely overcast, and it was foggy on the way here. So still got to make decisions about what to wear. I did put a post on Strava asking for people's advice, and of course I got the full range of answers from don't wear a lot to wrap up warm, so still trying to decide for myself today. And gonna go and find the toilet before we set off and get my warm-up started about 9, ready for 9:30 race start. So let's get going.
Our half marathon runners at Carsington this morning. Don't double up those miles, everybody. 1:8:1:20.
So as we get underway here, I think I made my first mistake with when to start my watch. I was wrongly thinking that as soon as you cross the start finish line, that was where the timing would start, but I think there's a mark just before the finish line, which is where the start is. So I was always a few seconds out with my timings on my watch for the rest of the race, which would come into play towards the end. So we're quite bunched up at the beginning. I had learnt my lesson slightly from the recent 5k race at No Walk in the Park, and I'd edged my way forwards nearer to the front of the crowd. Couldn't get all the way to the front, but kind of followed some other people who were snaking through the crowd and stopped where they stopped, so I had at least made up some ground. And turns out there were about 341 runners, I think, according to the results, so I'm glad I didn't get trapped behind the majority of those. Trying to make your way past people at this point is pretty tricky, so kind of forces you to start off easy, which is one good thing, but it's a little bit frustrating when you're wanting to go a bit faster, get your average pace where you want it to be from the start, and yeah, you're just kind of trapped. So it's quite a little bit of me running on verges and squeezing through gaps until I can finally find a bit of space. So still trying to find a comfortable bit of space and get amongst people who are running at the same kind of pace as I am. My goals for the race, again, I'm approaching this not 100% sure where my fitness is at and what a realistic target would be, but my PB from a recent half marathon is 1 hour 45 and 20 seconds at Monsal Trail. So that would be a good first goal, trying to get a PB. I was slightly injured when I set that, so I think that might be realistic if my fitness is okay. Next, I've set myself a goal for 2025 to run a sub 1 hour 42. Not really sure that's realistic at this point. That's my kind of end of the year goal. So getting under 142 would be great. I checked before the race what my average pace would need to be to get a 142. I think it was a 450 per kilometre. I've got average pace showing on my watch, and that's what I'm checking as I go along, trying to run at about 450 pace and just see how long I can keep that up. If I could manage to crack my goal for the year in this first half marathon attempt, then I could switch to different goals and change my focus, so I can work through my other goals for the year. So that was the ideal, running at 450 per kilometre and getting a sub 142. And you can see the course is quite undulating, so running at 450 pace is all well and good on the flat sections. and the downs, but there's so many uphills on this. You know, there's always one around the next corner, and some of them are quite steep as well, so the train definitely comes into play when you're trying to pace yourself on a course like this. So, I seem to have found myself a bit of space. Nice misty view of the reservoir there. And yeah, I can kind of aim for the pace I'm after now and settle in while I've got this space around me. Nice straight, fairly flat looking section here. I can see the people up ahead are not going too much faster than me. No one's coming past me from behind, so yeah, I'm just in my own little slot, which is exactly what I was after, really. Just being able to control my own pace and not have to squeeze around people. So the way this course is structured, an entire lap of the Carsington Water reservoirs is about 8 miles, from what I recall. So to do a half marathon here, we need to find another 5 and a bit miles from somewhere. So what we do, we start running, good support from the marshals there, pretty much all the way around. So we start running clockwise until we get kind of to the top of the reservoir. Then there's a turnaround point and you run back to the start, so that's added on the extra few miles that we need to make up the half marathon distance, before we then do a full anti-clockwise loop of the water and back to the finish line. So this out and back section, just adding on that extra distance. I don't know the course well enough to know where, to know any of it really. It's all kind of feels like totally new to me on the day. But I know there's going to be a turnaround point at some point along here. So here's some evidence that the turnaround point's not far away. The race leaders 1 and 2 going past on the right there. So you can get some idea, if you've got your wits about you, of what position you're in at this point. On the day, it didn't occur to me. So there's number 3. Let's see where I was at this point. Need to just keep left of the cones, and obviously the people coming from the turnaround point will be on the other side. Four and 5 there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not in the top 10, guys. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, oh, good job. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and there's 2 in front of me, so they'll be 34, but that puts me in 35th at the turnaround. So now you get to see all the runners behind, passing them on the way out. At least one person I know from Strava was doing the race, but I didn't realise they were in amongst the people I'm seeing here. So you may have heard my watch there just telling me I've done lap 5, so just over 5k into the race. And at this point I think I'd accidentally settled into an average pace of 4:42 per kilometre. So I immediately knew I was going faster than I should be, given that 4:50 is kind of my dream goal pace for the end of the year. I'm 8 seconds per kilometre ahead of that at the moment. But it's one of those where, you know, the pace I'm doing just feels okay, fine. You know, I can tram along at this pace and it just feels easy enough. You know, it's obviously not easy. I mean, there's plenty of work going in, but it just feels natural. And you know, if I force myself to slow down, it almost feels like I'm working harder. So I'm kind of just letting myself go at that pace for as long as it feels okay, and yeah, questioning whether I've made the right decision or not. So when we start to see the car park, you can tell we're somewhere back near the visitors centre, which is where the race starts and ends. So the out and back section is gradually coming to a close, and then we can begin with the full anti-clockwise loop of the entire reservoir, including the section we've already done. So the announcers giving encouragement to everyone running past this way. He actually complimented me on my running form, said I was had a lovely running style and was wasting no energy. And then he said, "Well done, madam," to congratulate what I presume is the First Lady somewhere behind me. So now we head out onto one of the coldest sections of the course. It's about 1 Celsius. You can see it's kind of misty with a drizzle in the air. And this bit's really exposed. We're kind of crossing what I presume is the dam. And yeah, so the wind gets up a bit here. It's a little bit chilly. I'd opted for just a long sleeve top in the end. I've got my cap on with my buff around my ears, some shorts, and yeah, some gloves on. So yeah, I was just hoping that would be enough and that I'd warm up. And yeah, I never noticed any feelings of being too hot or cold generally. It's just I noticed the slightly biting wind on this open section, but it wasn't too bad in the end. So at this point, 2 lady runners went past me. You can see the one directly in front, and then there's a blonde lady in black just a little bit further ahead. So we've got the first and second ladies now, zooming past, doing a great job. The first lady was unbelievably fast. I don't think we saw her again after she disappears into the distance here. Different story with the second lady. She seemed to be doing pretty much the same goal pace as me, and she was kind of just in front of me or just behind me for the majority of the race from now on. So somehow at this point I was still keeping around a 4:42 pace. The second lady in front was, like I say, running at pretty much the pace I wanted to be at. having set out, more great support, with a goal average pace of 450 per kilometre. Lap 12 was a 446, so you see I'm going faster there. These uphill sections just slowed some of the kilometres down, but every uphill had a corresponding downhill at some point. Though some of them were quite steep, so it's hard to kind of give it full bore going down a slightly slippy, gravelly or muddy downhill in essentially road shoes. So yeah, you couldn't always make up all of the time you'd lost on the hills. Nice flat section, she says, but I slipped onto the outer part of the bend where it's really muddy here and struggled to keep my feet. So as I kept checking the average pace on my watch, I didn't have an overall time showing, just the average pace and the distance. It gradually started to slip to 444, 443, 444, 445 as we got later on and the hilly sections started to kick in. But I was doing maths in my head, trying to figure out, well, if I wanted to go sub 100, so 1 hour 40, you know, what would that look like in terms of average pace? And I think I worked out it would either be 443 or 444. I forget now. But I was thinking, well, maybe if I can just, you know, give it a little bit more and aim for that, I could be a sub 100 half marathoner by the end of this. Someone trying to chuck litter from one side of the trail to another as I passed by there. So I thought that would be incredible, you know, if I've got a 99 something as my half marathon time, wow. Not only smashed my goal, but got that under my belt. So that became my new target. Can I keep to 443? So that was it from now on. Even if I failed that, then I would get a new PB, smash my target for the year. Just got overtaken for the first time in a long time there. That chap finished ahead of me. Looking really strong there. And again, the second lady is just in sight and seems to be a 4:36 kilometre there. So I'm ahead of my really optimistic goal time on that one. There must have been some downhill sections. But that was lap 20, so I know I've only got 1.1 kilometre to do now. Roughly speaking, there will have been some kind of weaving about, and I'm not going to have done exactly 21.1 by the end of this run, that's guaranteed. So my Strava time will be completely different from my actual race time. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to cling on to the second lady there, who seems to have, from what I can tell, the same goal time as me, and she's looking stronger than me. She's been ahead of me for a long time, so I know if I can just stay fairly close to her, then chances are I'll be around the 100-minute mark. I am obviously flagging at this point. Even the downhills smashing my legs up, and yeah, I'm just doing everything I can to just keep going as fast as I can. I'm not really checking my watch so often now because I know I'm in the last kilometre or so, and I just need to give it everything. And yeah, just trying to keep the second lady in sight. Somewhere in this last kilometre the rain started coming down. It had just been, you know, like I say, misty and a bit drizzly for the rest of the race. I felt warm enough, although you see I took my right glove off to get the top off a gel, and on this occasion I just didn't bother putting it back on. I did the first time I had a gel, but at this point my hands started to feel a bit cold. I didn't realise how cold until I got to the end. Look at this steep climb, just when you don't want it, trying to get this final last fast kilometre in, and yeah, having to plough steep inclines is not what you want. The legs are absolutely screaming at this point. So sore and tired. Yeah, and having to slog up this and just thinking, yeah, maybe there's more of these to come because I don't know the course, but it's definitely undulating. Having to squeeze through some other runners as well. I think some of these are 10k runners who we've kind of caught up with because they go anti-clockwise for their race. So it's hard to tell who's in what race at the moment, but I presume most of these are 10k, and I am just giving it everything to try to go sub 100 at this point, despite my optimistic 142 goal from the outset. It looks like I'm actually getting closer to the second lady now. She must be finding it as difficult as I am, so I'm wondering whether it's a good time to go past, but then it gets a little bit crowded on the path at this point. Who knows where I get this energy from at the end of the race to actually still be going past people, but I'm thankful that I do seem to have that in most races. But I am giving it everything now. Absolutely exhausted from going faster than optimistic new goal pace. This pavement bit's a welcome sight. Back to the car park. I know there's not far to go now. It still feels really difficult. I'm trying to get my form in a good place so I'm not wasting energy after the kind words from the guy at the start-finish line earlier. That made me feel that kind of smooth, slightly bouncy technique that I was demonstrating as I went past him was the way to go to conserve energy and keep me going smoothly and quickly towards the finish line. I always pride myself on having a little bit of a sprint finish in most of these longer races, and I'm just trying to prove that to myself and give it everything. Of course, as members of the public and walkers and other runners all around the course, so thankfully they're staying out of the coned area mainly and mostly here. Someone does cross in front of me and then I just start accelerating from here. I know the finish line should be in sight very soon. I'm trying to see it through the fog. Can't quite picture where to go from here, but I am just giving it everything. I think there's a sign that's pointing to the right, it says finish right, so I'm like, I need to turn right, okay. Hoping it's obvious when I get there, and then the cones guide me in. Full sprint now. Boom.
Thank you.
Oh, lady.
Thanks.
So, got my medal and my bottle of water, just helping myself to the snacks at the end now. Just before I hand you over to a very tired, cold and weary sounding me in the car to summarise how I felt after the race.
Right guys, that's it. Carsington Water Half Marathon done. Fairly sure I beat my PB of 145 and my half marathon target for the year of 142. My watch said 1:40:12 as I crossed the line, so I'll have to see what the official time is and I'll put that on the screen. But I gave that everything. I couldn't have knocked another 12 seconds off that if I'd tried. So yeah, it was freezing cold. My right hand is all different shades of pink and purple at the moment because I took the glove off so I could get into the gels and stuff. But yeah, absolutely thrashed it round there, gave it everything I'd got, and I'm really pleased with the time. So thanks for following along today, guys. Just gonna go and do a bit of a cool down jog, and not that I need to really cool down, but you know what I mean, 1 or 2 stretches, and then see if my feet can operate the pedals of the car to get me back home. So thanks again, guys. Had a really great half marathon today. Hopefully I'll catch you soon. Bye.
So I managed to finish in 33rd place with a chip time of 1:40.18, which is just mind-blowing for me. Really happy with that. And somehow also managed to finish 3rd in my age category. Just still within V45 before I turn 50 in May. So top 3 in my age category. That's definitely never happened before. Absolutely overjoyed with that.